What's up, everybody? This is Ripples in Wales, back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and having a great day wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing. This is a bit of a kind of an impromptu emergency video I wanted to put together. Emergency in a good way though, not a negative way. I was just sat at home doing some DIY and whatnot, and I just saw this news coming from the CoinDesk about the G20 and regulations, and I couldn't believe the accuracy on this one. We talked earlier on in the video that I posted today about Bearable Guy's timeline and how I was keeping a very close eye on August, middle of August. Today sat on the 19th of August, and a post that I referred to was posted on the 18th of August 2019. That's 4 years ago to the day, literally within 12 hours of the posting time. And I just was like a little bit astounded by the accuracy on this. I referred to this post this morning. You know, you look at this, the timing post, it was 12:30 a.m. Okay, unreal. And so he's got this regulation jar kind of tipping off a shelf, and we may have talked about it before. You may have seen some of my let's bring this up, this one here, and we need this image here. We talked about this image before, and the accuracy of this is unbelievable. So the reason I'm bringing this up, I'll just quote this and reference it to an article I've just seen a minute ago. But we talked today about this regulation jar molasses on a bookshelf, and the image that Bearable Guy posted is in relation to this. And it's also, I mean, if we can get if we just get a little knockback to an actual image of the molasses jar. Ooh, that one there. Let's bring that up. So this is what was posted. Just so you can all see, it was at regulation molasses, 12 fluid ounce and price on the jar. And it doesn't mean regulations are going to get dropped straight away, but it's just the accuracy and the interest they have in terms of, you know, this particular year in question, especially this last quarter. I'm keeping my eyes open for anything of this flavour in terms of regulations, and especially stablecoin regulations. But you see, the G20 have just released a very interesting article regarding India's presidency of the G20 and their need to kind of include their opinions in a full kind of swathing regulation package on crypto assets and stable coins by 2025. Now, this starts the wheel for me. So we can see this is the image here posted by BG123, and when we can see it there on his timeline posted on August the 18th 2019. And I said in my video today, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. I'm waiting for this one image to drop, and I got it today, smack bang a day after, 4 years almost to the day, to 12 hours. So for me, that's a really interesting, it's nothing guaranteed, it's nothing set, but it's a very, very interesting and exciting drop that we see today. Anyway, so it refers to this scene, and as we can see, there's a gavel, you know, on the top of the mantelpiece. And if you think this is bullshit, that's okay. I'm all right with that, you know. And if it doesn't resonate with you either, that's totally cool as well. We're just kind of playing around with this. This is not financial advice. This is just us discussing some crazy cartoons that were left by a bear with a funny hat a few years ago, and we're just playing around with them. But that said, okay, this is very, very interesting for me, because I said that, you know, in September time, end of August, you know, this meeting and these regulations are supposed to be kind of publicised in a paper by the end of August, and we've got a hammer beginning of September on the calendar, as I've said to you dozens and dozens of times, and we've got the jar of molasses. Now, this is what the space has been apparently waiting for. I don't think it needed it, but to bring institutional investors in, you certainly needed regulations to bring the herd in. And who are the herd? Wholesale institutions. They will want a slice of this pie, and we are going to witness a handover from the retail to the institutionals, okay? And this is the mechanism in which this is going to start kind of rolling out. But it's not just, you know, just the handover for institutions. This is a crackdown, okay? I'm going to put this with a caveat in a kind of air quotes I'm doing, if you could see me now, a caveat to say, warning, there's strong regulation coming down the line. And I've told you the fireplace, that phoenix is not a good omen for your portfolio values. Let's just put it like that, okay? And my concern is that when these regulations start and they start coming out hot and heavy, we are likely to see a swathe of lawsuits and control mechanisms thrown by the G20. Yes, this is probably the part of the path that this is going to take. It is what it is. I'm not going to fight it, and tinfoil hats on, whatever. But my point is in this is that we're going with the flow. We have chosen an asset that we knew there was tons of stuff going on in the background, and this is the way that they're going to push this road. Okay, and when I say they, we're talking G20, G7, and all the global elite. They are going to, for want of a better word, ring fence this industry. And I'm not a fan of regulations. I'm not a fan of all this overarching control. I despise it, but I'm not going to fight it. It is what it is, and hopefully we're placed in the right position with this. So, super interesting. Let's show the article anyway, and I was just mind blown by this, I really was. So this is the article. CoinDesk, G20 nations with support from the FSB and IMF, again, told you about the IMF, under India's presidency are moving towards the first global crypto regulations. Now, we were told many times by the insiders, Ross van der Meer, all them, G20 were all ready and decided, and they were waiting for suitable timing. Okay, now you've got this debacle, which we talked about earlier on in a video, about the push of the BRICS nations who are threatening the westernized system. The West are having to kind of almost retaliate. We're talking currency wars here. Okay, this is real big boy stuff. Well above my pay grade and understanding. Actually, I am richly grabbing to try and understand this all, but or reaching to try and understand it all. But my point is the G20 are retaliating. They are bringing in global crypto regulations as quick as they can to keep relevant, to go to a new interoperable standard of money between all their huge institutions. If we go into the article which I've opened here, it says G20 set to crystallise global regulation rules as India wraps up presidency, just as India starts, kind of its handover. I think it's to Brazil in the next what do they call it? They call it a troika. Okay, so the reference to a troika is the G20 presidency always has a three nation kind of triangle that makes decisions on the basis of things. I think it's been Indonesia, India, and Brazil currently as the troika, but as India comes away from the presidency, there'll be a new troika in place. I think there was a great video here. I'm going to reference it. By the Coin Bureau talking about the G20's planning will shock you. And he's right over the bloody target. Anyway, back to the article. We'll go over that in a minute. Behind closed doors, the global economic leaders called for the global coordination on crypto regulation rather than have the nations attempt to ban the industry. You see, they've tried banning it. That whole narrative has now changed and failed. They're now looking at regulating it. Okay, so you're in the right space. Pat yourselves on the back. The bear markets are worth it. You can now look ahead thinking, oh my God, this is legitimate. The biggest nations in the world are going to regulate it, and they're going to make it a new asset class. The meeting held under Chatham House rules took place as India wraps up its presidency of the G20 nations. Leading economic officials pushed for greater global coordination of crypto regulations during a recent roundtable discussion held in the G20 meeting. International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva opposed the idea of an outright ban, likening crypto to water, trying to plug it from one side, it will find some hole and come out. At the same meeting, the US Treasury official Jay Shambo, I pronounce it right, said drafting global crypto regulation rules wouldn't normalise the sector's disasters, much like how mandating seatbelts didn't normalise car crashes. The roundtable, which was hosted by India as the current G20 president, was conducted under Chatham House rules and thus closed to the media. An individual present for the discussion shared details with CoinDesk, saying the metaphors shared were public knowledge and a robust discussion of global and crypto rules could benefit from learning from these viewpoints. Now let's scan. This is the I want to scan to a particular part that I see. This is the FSB deadline. An FSB paper recommended a framework for crypto assets, including a de facto deadline to implement this framework for jurisdictions. The FSB will by end of 2025, conduct a review of the status of the implementation of these two sets of recommendations for crypto assets and stablecoins at the jurisdictional level, the paper said. Now, I'm no legal expert, but, that's what they're going to say is kind of, is a go-ahead and what's not. Effectively, this means the FSB member nations will have to bring their individual rules all legislation that implement at the recommendations by the end of 2025. What have I been saying to you all? 2025, 2026, they're timing this to the next top of the Bitcoin cycle. Okay. Potential bans. One of the major questions in India is whether welcoming the FSB recommendations could mean it's legitimizing the crypto and thus ruling out a ban. So we've passed the ban sector. Okay, we are now in the, okay, we're going to make some rules about it. This is fascinating. Anyway, so this is absolutely bloody huge. I was absolutely mind blown by this, I've got to say. And you know, in just in a video earlier on today, we discussed this. I mean, I'm going to just play a small clip of it. You would have seen it earlier on. Regulation Molasses refers to the crypto scene and the regulating of it, and you know the overall entry of the big industry into crypto. By big industry, I'm referring to the wholesale money, institutional money. And when regulations occur, you know, the lid will come off and the lid's got price in the jar. So we can go back to that to see the Christmas scene. So we're on August the 19th today, and so this was yesterday. So this was me just talking about this less than 8 hours ago. I can't believe I'm actually listening to myself speak on there and recording another video to show it to you. But this is like the size of the fascination to me to see this come live, and it's worth me spending, you know, like an extra 10 minutes of my time recording this video to say like, wow, okay, this is big. So like, yeah, I just want to give that some nod that like it's just pretty damn special. So what can we expect next? Okay, this is what my instincts say. Okay, as I've said to you all, I am extremely bullish for the long term, but bearish for the near future. Okay, and why, you know, people think, oh my god, how can you think that from looking at a ridiculous riddle or, you know, a ridiculous cartoon? Because these cartoons, when you understand all of the cryptography that goes into them and how they connect to these other big messages that were left by the likes of Ross Van der Meer, Marvin Gaye, and all these other amazing minds that were good enough and kind enough, and I mean that, kind enough to circumvent NDAs in order to leave some enough breadcrumbs for us all to pull together. They're all suggesting that this is coming to a head, and by a head, what I'm referring to is that we are reaching a point of no return. Things are going to be adapted into regulations, and they're going to become very much a part of our daily lives, but not before a straightening up of the space. And the straightening up of the space is what I'm utterly bearish about. Be mindful that when these regulations and as this change occurs now, there is going to be great scrutiny on all the bad actors in the space and a real washing out and scorching of the ground. And that's the message I want to leave you with, is that this is amazing, I guess, long-term for institutions coming in and adopting this and then taking our digital assets off us at a much higher price. Okay, it means prosperity for you and your family. It means that you're in the right place and right time. And it means that you are going to prosper if you just sit on your hands and wait this out. Okay, but before we get, you know, the 2026 kind of is where my mindset is always at in this now. It's two and a third of years away. That's all it is. It's not far away. So just keep your eyes on the prize now, but we're about to see a changing of the guard here, you know, and the resetting of the system. So don't be surprised if we see some crazy tinfoil hat events occurring. We've already seen Evergrande in the past few days. This is the start. They are going to do some crazy black swan shiz. I am more than certain about it. I don't know how, I don't know why, but just keep your heads on a swivel. So please give the video a like and give the channel a subscribe, and tell us if you like it. Tell me if you think it's BS. Tell me whatever you want. I'm answering every comment today. I've got a little bit of time this evening, so might go and head out to the beach now and just chill out for a little bit, catch up with some mates and stuff. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are, and yeah, drop us a comment, drop a like on the video, and come and say hi on Twitter as well. Until the next video, you all be blessed. You're in the right place at the right time. Bye for now.